This is from Christian Dulin. Since Tito Boy Abunda's question became a hot topic because it was hard to answer, like, how would you have answered that question? Or siguro wag na lang na how would you have answered that? Like, what would be going through your head if you're asked a question? Because that was very philosophical, right? Like, there wasn't really like a correct or a wrong answer to that. Like, it was very much, deeper meaning of life. So how do you answer those questions? Like, you hear it, you have 30 seconds to answer. Like, how do you even prepare for that?
I think yeah.
I think it's
Whoever
important
wants to go first.
that when you get a tricky question, because that was a trick question, just to take what you need. So I've been in situations where I get asked questions that I don't like or don't want, and I'm like, okay, I'll take this bit from it. So for me, I would focus on the mental health aspect, and I would just talk about, I would pivot and say a message. And, a lot of girls have templated answers as well that you can rely on. So a very common thing is if you don't know what to say, you can talk about having faith, you can talk about hope. So there are some alternative paths that you can take it. But I would definitely just talk about perseverance, about processing your feelings, mourning loss, whether it's the loss of a loved one, of a job, just really feeling everything so that you can use it as fuel and you can turn your pain into purpose and passion, change it into your motivation and, make your weakness your strength. But I have kudos to Karen. She did a great job. And I hope, I don't think we need to ask trick questions. Of course, they're fun for the fans, but I would love to ask them more clear cut so we can really see the girl,
Right.
not focus on the question.
Right. How about you guys?
The same for me. The first thing that came to my mind when I first heard this question is definitely centering around mental health. And so, I would say the same thing. It's okay to not be okay because we are in a pandemic. Suicidal rates are high. People are depressed and it's normal. And then I would follow up with saying it's not okay to not be okay when you know that you need help and when you could reach out. And then I would then proceed to encourage people to do that. That's how I would have attacked this question.
Yeah,
Cindy?
so I think with that very tricky question and given the 30 seconds time limit, I think that it would be very, very difficult to answer it with a lot of things going on in your mind. I think I would focus on the message of hope, message of perseverance, just like Mao, and acknowledge our emotions, just like Karen. And really, I think we need to respect. It all boils down to respect. Respect the feelings, respect our personal timeline of coping with the things.
Yes, I agree with Cindy actually that we have to recognize, acknowledge the feelings, the negative emotions, the uncertainties, the anxieties. But for me, it's not okay not to be okay when we let these negative emotions, these anxieties control our lives. Because I believe at the end of the day, we have the control of our lives and we have the control to ask for help and to see the beauty in life, to see the positivity in life. And I hope all the people who are struggling with mental health, I myself experienced that during the first quarter of pandemic, and it's really hard. You have to take your time. You have to realize that these things happening in your life is out of control. It's not, it is not something that we can have hold on to. It's just something that what we can control is how to respond and react to this kind of situation. And when we embrace, acknowledge these emotions, we can process it and finally we will overcome it.
Hannah?
Again, I want to acknowledge Karen. She did so well.
Yeah.
I was in the second batch, so when the first batch was answering their questions, I honestly was just freaking out for my turn. But when I heard that question, I was like, they asked the right girl, because Karen is an advocate for mental health awareness, and the way she answered, I really liked her quote from the movie. So I found that was very impactful. But yeah, just like the other girls have said, during this pandemic, we realized that it's become a normal thing to discuss. We're no longer thinking about the stigma with mental health challenges. I myself went through moments of anxiety and sadness. So it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to be not okay when you know that your invisible scars really need treatment and you need to talk to someone.